Hey everyone, it's Paul Ward here, and welcome to another 15 minutes. I'm very excited today. I've got a longtime friend, Tom Piszczek, who is an expert in the real estate industry as a longtime title representative. Tom, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Absolutely. So, we're going to be talking about a couple things. First, we'll explain to folks what is title insurance. And then you also want to share with our audience some information about fraud and what you can do as a consumer to protect your most valuable asset. Typically, would be your home. So, what folks can do to protect their home in this crazy world that we live in right now, and fraud that's happening. So Tom, for folks that don't know, what is title insurance, and why does a homeowner need that?
Title insurance is unlike car insurance, where you pay for a policy that covers you for the future. Title insurance is a policy that's basically guaranteeing your bundle of rights. So when you're purchasing a piece of property, it's customary that the seller would pay for the homeowner's title policy for the benefit of the buyer. And we produce what we call a prelim, which shows a report that gives you all the details and everything of record for that particular property. And so we're basically showing everything that we're aware of that's made known. So any liens, any encumbrances, easements, whether there's solar contracts, all those kinds of things would show up on the prelim, so that that buyer can look at that report and know what their bundle of rights are. And it's really important because obviously you'd want to know about easements and things like that, right? If you're buying a piece of property, you want to put a pool in the backyard, and you find out that there's an easement for a horse trail or for a gas line, and that all of a sudden you can't use that space for what you intended, you'd want to know about that before you bought it, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So title insurance is guaranteeing free and clear, equitable title to the property that you're buying. So now you have the right to encumber that property with a loan. You have the right to make changes and do whatever you want with it. And that's guaranteeing that for that buyer. And what a lot of people don't realize is that title insurance isn't just for that time of purchase. As long as you have an active policy, that you have coverage for future events and things as well. So if you it comes up later that there turns out that nobody knew about, but there was an encroachment on your property, you could go back to your title company possibly, and you could file a claim and say, hey, we didn't know about this before, and now someone else is claiming a portion of our property. What's going on here? And so you would go and file that as a claim.
Okay, so if I'm a buyer and I'm looking to purchase, 123 Banana Street, and we get our offer accepted, we get into escrow, and we find out that the seller, failed to pay a contractor. So there's a contractor filed a mechanics lien on the property,
Mhm.
and maybe didn't pay, back child support, which
Okay,
might cloud title. Is
correct.
it my job as a buyer or my agent's job to get that cleared up, or who clears that up?
So yeah, so those kinds of things, some depending on the type of lien that it is, it may not always show up on the property right away.
Mm,
When we search a property initially, we're pulling it by the address and by the APN number and looking at the legal description of that property. And so things that are recorded against the property are going to show up on the prelim. If your name is super common, there may be things against you as an individual that would attach to your property but may not show up on a report right away. So it's really important that when you open escrow and the escrow officer sends out your paperwork, there's a SI that's in there, the statement of information. You really want to get that thing turned in as quickly as possible from both parties, because that's going to have social security numbers, last known addresses, any other names. That's going to allow us to search not just the property, but the owners as well, so that a mechanics lien that was filed against the individual will now show up. That child support lien, those spousal support liens are going to now show up.
hmm
And so then it becomes escrow's responsibility to work with the seller to get partial releases for those things, to confirm, okay, well, there's a child support lien against this person. Is it in arrear or is it current? And so they have to contact the department and find out, about the status of that account and make sure that it's at least current. If it's in arrears, then they have to figure out this has to get paid. Are you getting enough equity that all those things can get paid off so that those can be handled? Mechanics lien, they'll contact the lien holder and find out what's owed. Is there back interest? Is there enough equity? Can everybody agree? That's going to be between the seller and escrow to get those things handled. We'll report them as a title in the prelim title issue, but then escrow has to work with the seller to get those things removed so that the buyer can take the property free and clear of any of those encumbrances.
Gotcha. And what about Uncle Sam? What if Uncle Sam, the seller hasn't paid back taxes? I mean, that can take quite a bit of time to deal with the IRS or the franchise tax board. And escrow is moving forward, and the parties are trying to get the deal closed. Can that just throw a total monkey wrench in the whole situation?
It can. It absolutely can. All those things can pop up. And so it's good when sellers are honest about things in advance so that we know about them. And like I said, get the paperwork turned in quickly so that we can handle those issues. But yeah, if there's IRS tax liens, again, we have to be able to connect with the IRS and find out, here's how much they're getting. They obviously need to be by another home or whatever the case is. And so a lot of times they'll get, if they're on a payment plan and stuff like that, and if everything's paid current, then we will get a partial release for that type of thing. So they're basically giving us permission to sell the property and give them their proceeds, or is there enough to pay off the whole lien and just make sure that that gets paid from whatever the proceeds of the sale of the property were.
Gotcha. So Tom, you wanted to share with us a new fraud alert program. It's kind of a consumer protection notice that's actually free. And I know there's a lot of fraud going on, and overseas nefarious players trying to tap into people's equity lines and take over their properties. And this is a way for folks to watch out what's happening.
Right. So recently, Ventura County and LA County came out with their own fraud alert system. You may have seen commercials on TV from different companies that are trying to sell, insurance to notify you about changes to your property. And so I think it's really cool that Ventura County and LA County have both come out with their own free fraud alert system. Now, I haven't personally tested the LA County one because I don't own properties in LA County, but I have gone in and I've actually created my own account within the Ventura County fraud alert system. Their website is vcclerkrecorder.org. And you can go there and create your own free account, and you associate with your email address. And then you can go in and you can add all the APN numbers of any properties that you own in Ventura County. And you can also add your name. Now, when a deed of trust or a loan is recorded against a property, they don't always reference the APN number, and the county recorder's office does not pick up the APN number, even if it is listed on a deed of trust. So you have to put your name in the system. So somebody like me, not that big of a deal, right? There's not too many of us around. It's just me and my dad with the same last name. But you would put in your last name and a space, and then the first three initials of your first name, and you would add that into the account.
Okay, so for me, it would be Ward space PAU.
That's correct.
Okay.
Right. And your name's a little bit more common though, so it is possible that you'll be getting notified about things that truly don't relate to you because it's picking up your name. And if there's another Paul Ward out there or Paula Ward out there, it's possible that you get a notification of something that doesn't actually belong to you. But you also want to go in and put the APN numbers of your properties in, so that if a notice of default is recorded, if there's a grant deed or a quitclaim deed or something that's recorded that references that APN number, you'll get an email alert. And it usually only takes about 2 to 3 days to get that alert. I think that's a fantastic tool for lots of different reasons. First of all, just for your own protection, just it's free to be able to put that stuff in there. And then if something does come up and something's recorded, it might be a validation of something you just did. Oh, we just went and spoke with our attorney and we had our property put into a trust. And so wonderful. I can see that that's just what happened. And you'll get an email that gives you the document number of the document that was recorded. It'll give you the APN number if it's referencing the APN number. It'll give you what type of document was recorded, and it will show you who the grantor and who the grantee was. So that's referencing like a quitclaim or a grantee. And so, if that's happening, great, no problem, wonderful. But if you get an alert of some kind that you're not expecting, time is of the essence, right? You want to know about something. Your title company, whoever you have, isn't going to automatically notify you just because they insured the equity, the transfer of the property to you when you bought it. They don't come around later and say, hey, by the way, did you mean to sell your property? That's
Right.
up to you. So this is a great way that you would be notified automatically about anything that references your property. If you don't know what it is, call your favorite realtor, call Paul Ward, say, Paul, something just happened.
Right.
What is this? How do I find this out? Where can I get a copy of this actual document? And that way, you could reach out to me, or we could try to look up that document and verify that. If it is fraud, and it truly is that someone recorded a fraudulent deed against your property or filed a lien against your property, like I said, opened up a home equity line or a loan against your property and forged your signature, that's where title insurance could come in and help. You would want to report it to your title insurance company, the one that you have when you acquired title, so that you can file a claim with them and have that title company help you unwind whatever that fraud may have been.
And better to know about it 48 hours after it's filed than find out about it, 5 years down the road, and you're trying to sell your property, and the individuals who did this are, not to be found, gone.
Right, exactly. Now, the highest propensity of fraud of this type usually happens against vacant land because there's nobody there. I can go and show a piece of vacant land all day long. If I showed up to a residential house and was trying to pretend that I was the seller, obviously the sellers, the owners could be living there. And so it's harder to do that kind of thing with a residential property. But the highest propensity is usually against vacant land or commercial property or non-owner occupied properties. But it can happen, and it's just a free way, like you said, to protect your largest assets. Another great reason that I like this tool personally is for elder abuse issues. I've been doing this for over 25 years, and I've seen different things have happened, or people have come to me who are surprised that they helped their parents buy a piece of property so that they could be close by and live there. And then after they've passed away, all of a sudden that property is in the name of the caregiver who was staying there and living there. And they're like, oh my gosh, what happened? Or a girlfriend or a boyfriend or something, all of a sudden they're on title and the kids didn't even know. And now if it passes to them because of joint tenancy or community property with rights of survivorship or whatever the case is, it's too late.
Sure.
But this is all public record information. So you can create an account and actually put the APN numbers of your parents' properties in if you want to monitor that, or a good friend, so that if something were to pop up, you would be notified about it and you could go and help deal with the issues before it's too late.
So you could do any property.
You could
right?
do any property.
Interesting.
It's public record information, right? So when you record a document, you're making it public. You're recording that document, and now anybody could go look it up. And
Sure.
so, yeah, if you wanted to be monitoring, I'm actually monitoring a few properties for friends of mine that are elder, and nothing to do with me. It's not like I'm claiming any ownership of any kind, but if something does pop up and all of a sudden a notice of default is recorded because they've been forgetting to make mortgage payments or something, that gives me the opportunity to come in and say to my friend, hey, what's going on here? Are you getting your bills paid? What's happening? Let's help get this fixed, So for me, I think it's just a great tool, even for those kinds of issues, just to help kind of keep an eye on stuff for friends. Yeah.
Very smart. I mean, just so many reasons to go in and take a few minutes to register your address or your friend's address. I mean, elder abuse and, getting behind on your mortgage payment and, overseas fraudsters. I mean, just all kinds of reasons to go in and take a few minutes to register your properties.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Tom, how would somebody get a hold of you if they have more questions about general title insurance or about the fraud alert program?
Just call Tom Piszczek. My phone number is 805-302-8667. And I would love to help anybody. I am the sales rep for Lawyers Title here in Camarillo, Santa Paula, and Fillmore. Those are my specific areas that I rep. And I'd love to help in any way I can.
Wonderful. And Lawyers Title is a nationwide company.
That's correct. Lawyers Title is part of the FNF family of companies, and we are the largest title insurer.
Wonderful. Well, Tom Piszczek, Tom Piece of Cake, we certainly appreciate you being part of our 15-minute show this week, and we appreciate all that you have to share.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity.
And of course, we want to thank our sponsors, Opus Escrow.